the company that owns this station and 5 others in Huntsville alone. Have you ever thought to see if Cumulus got any PPP loans forgiven? Well, they did.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
So here's a fun fact before we go into our next topic. All y'all, especially folks who listen to us on WVNN in Huntsville, here's a fun fact before we go into our next topic. All of y'all have heard the weekday hosts wailing, just absolutely apoplectic, that some working folks are going to get their loans forgiven. And so here's a question. Have you ever thought to look and see if Cumulus, which is the company that owns this station and 5 others in Huntsville alone, have you ever thought to see if Cumulus got any PPP loans forgiven? Well, they did, to the tune of $20 million. $20 million. And look, okay, you got a restaurant, got to close down, you're like physically not able to operate. Taking a PPP loan is one thing, and it's good, and you should take it. It's worth noting, the people that, even if they own restaurants, people that take PPP loans and they don't think that people who, working folks who went to college should get some of their student debt forgiven. They think that they should be, just sacked with this debt for the rest of their lives. It's worth noting, sure, but it is a little bit different. But radio can be done from home, and it was done from home, and it did not hamper the operations of radio. I don't remember ever actually the radio going off the air during the lockdowns, for instance. Radio was still playing, never went off the air, but a full $20 million, 20 million taxpayer dollars went to funding literal right-wing propaganda. Which is, look, you like the message or you don't. That's not really material. That's just a description of what is happening on news talk stations owned by Cumulus. It's right-wing propaganda, right? And 20 million of your dollars went to funding that. Just thought I'd share, since that's not something that you're going to hear during the rest of the week.
Good to know. Yeah, it sounds like maybe welfare.
Yep.
Welfare for talk radio.
Talk radio welfare.
I'm starting to think we should have submitted some PPP loans. Like,
no
apparently we're the
kidding.
only idiots who didn't get in on this grift.
No kidding. Jeez, man.
Look at us trying to be decent and honorable.
We could have gotten an employee with these PPP loans, and we could have really ramped up the business.
Yeah, take over YouTube, but that PPP loan. Thanks for sharing that, though. I think that's quite revealing.
$20 million of your money went directly to funding right-wing propaganda over the pandemic. So that's great. Love that for us.
Yeah, how did they spend that $20 million? Conceivably, They never went off the air. They never had to lay people off and then, continue their paychecks, right? Because like you said with the restaurant example, if the restaurant was closed, the PPP loan was supposed to help them maintain cash flow and theoretically continue cutting paychecks to the employees who were unable to work. In Europe, that's what they were explicitly directed to do.
Right.
What the hell were they doing with their $20 million in welfare, in bailout welfare money?
And look, I said that that maybe we can say that there's a difference between the PPP loans and the student loan forgiveness.
That's right. Yeah, because when you're getting a student loan, you're probably 18 years old,
right,
not allowed to rent a car or rent an apartment or buy a beer, but they are willing to give you $25,000 right out the gate.
Yeah.
A little bit more scrutiny to open a business and get a PPP loan.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that is worth knowing When we're, I mean, look, you can support the Paycheck Protection Program and oppose student loan forgiveness, but it's something that is worth noting.
Sure it is.
It's something that's worth noting that Cumulus got $20 million, a big check for $20 million from the taxpayers, and their talk radio hosts all across the country are now attacking again, because let's again set out the parameters of the student loan forgiveness. It's people who make less than $125,000 get up to $10,000 of student loans forgiven. Like, that is the parameter of this big government program, right?
Up
This
to
is not
$20,000 if you got Pell Grants, which
Yeah.
meant you were poor at the time.
These are not
you got the loans.
Right. These are not super wealthy people. And so, look, I mean, maybe you can say, like, oh, I don't know, there's better places to put that, and maybe you could have a conversation about that, and whatever. But it is just worth noting, if you are of that position and you benefited from a big government program, it's just, it's something that people should know.
Right.
Something that people should know.
Yeah, because they don't bring that energy when it comes to PPP loans
Yeah,
that were
that's-
forgiven. They don't bring
Right.
that energy when it comes to corporate bailouts. They don't bring that energy when it comes to tax cuts for the wealthy, by the wealthy. They don't
Exactly.
bring that energy when the oligarchs are printing their own money with quantitative easing.
Yeah,
They
when-
don't bring that energy when the public subsidize oil industries and all these other corporate profit.
Yeah.
They don't bring that energy, do they?
No, when Trump signed the CARES Act with the Paycheck Protection Program, Dale Jackson he did not get his panties in a wad about giving all this free money out. He just didn't. He just simply did not. And so it is, in the same way that it's worth noting how they benefited, it's worth just comparing the energy. Did they even oppose it at all? Or did they even advocate that the program be shrunk? Or were they just fine with money as long as it was coming to them? It's worth noting the energy that people are having towards working folks, mostly getting $10,000 to up to $20,000 if you got a Pell Grant of student loans forgiven.
Yeah, and while we're on this subject, and I'll get off of it, but while we're on this subject, I think it's worth mentioning that this whole shtick of trying to divide workers on this issue and to pretend like, oh, well, blue-collar workers are bailing out these, affluent gender studies majors is such bullshit. It's working class people disproportionately who hold student loan debt, disproportionately people of color. It's working class people who have debt and no degrees, because how many folks had to leave college early to go to work, to take care of sick loved ones, whatever the reason may have been, right? And I saw a comment this week from someone saying, well, I hope it's only for the people who graduated, not the ones who had to drop out. Well, shit. They need the forgiveness more than anyone, right? Because they don't even have the so-called college premium that a degree is supposed to reward upon you. So this is, as Max was saying, it's revealing how they don't actually know the working class, who it is, who makes it up.
Right.
It is pretty divisive, but that's how they operate. That is really the whole point of reactionary politics, is to keep working class people divided, because ultimately what they represent is for a tiny minority of oligarchs and the little subsection of folks immediately underneath those oligarchs who help them function. They don't have a working majority in terms of the policy benefits, in terms of what they advocate for and who they advocate for. The only way they can maintain any sort of power is by maintaining division amongst us working class people, by pitting blue collar against white collar, against white against black, college versus non-college, and it's all bullshit.
Yeah. And I think that of the deranged takes, I think the most deranged it had to be that congressperson who tweeted out that student loan forgiveness is a detriment to our military, because that takes away one of the biggest incentives that they have.
Hey,
for
at least he's
recruitment.
keeping it real. At least he's keeping it real. And
I mean, wow.
Yeah, I know saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, that really is the truth there.
Yeah.
And the American military has long known that college being fairly exclusive, the fact that college is exclusionary and comes with a lifetime debt sentence for many people in this country, is one of the key perks that they can throw in people's face. They can go to poor neighborhoods, poor communities, Title I schools, and throw that out there that, hey, this could be your pathway to college. And of course, the young people have been convinced college is their pathway to the middle class, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. So, yeah, I at least give that guy credit for keeping it real.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would prefer he not say that publicly because it is pretty revealing.
That was really wild. Like, just deranged, absolutely deranged stuff.
But, yeah, as the commenters are saying, ideology, yes, absolutely. I mean, I think when you have just go online and see the kind of conversations that are happening this week, it is a testament to the pure power of ideology and propaganda to warp people's thinking. It is disturbing. Mm-hmm. It can be disturbing. I mean, sometimes it's hilarious. You have to laugh at it to not cry about it.
Yeah.
But it is pretty dark when you think about it, especially when it's people used to be fairly normal, decent human beings who have gotten sucked into that pipeline.
Right.
They've gone down the rabbit hole. But hey, to hell with student loans, and to hell with the reactionary grifters who are trying to divide us amongst each other.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.